We are starting with the audio test on Honor 200 and Vivo X200 Pro. Honor 200 has 50 megapixel main sensor, 12 megapixel ultrawide and 50 megapixel telephoto. Well, we have 50 megapixel main sensor, 200 megapixel telephoto and 50 megapixel ultrawide on Vivo X200 Pro. I think that's it for a quick audio test. Let the battle begin. On the widest field of view, which is 1x, you will have a wider focal length on Vivo X200 Pro. I like the edge detection on both phones, but you will notice that there's a difference on the white balance and contrast. We have a cooler tone on Honor 200 and brighter, while we have a stronger contrast, darker, and warmer photo on Vivo X200 Pro. We got more details on the face on Honor 200 and smoother skin on Vivo X200 Pro. On 2x, almost the same field of view, but you will notice that Vivo X200 Pro has stronger beautification. I'm using a Chinese variant and they say this cannot be turned off on this model. The beautification can be turned off on the global version, but in terms of how they look, Honor 200 has also some sort of beautification, but not as strong as the competition. On portrait zoom, this is where Honor 200 loses on the battle. Sure, we have 3x, but X200 Pro has 85mm and 135mm field of view, which is around 4 to 5x. If you need that close-up shot and greater subject separation, then Vivo X200 Pro is a better phone. Obviously, Flagship will give you better reach, but Honor 200 is still very competitive. On selfie portrait, almost the same look in terms of beautification. Looking at my face and my wife, I like the background blur on Vivo X200 Pro, and the skin is a little bit warmer on the Flagship X200.
3, 2, 1, go on and lose your minds.
This is the video quality test, starting with the selfie video recording, 4K 30 FPS. So this is Honor 200 versus Vivo X200 Pro. If you're wondering why Honor 200 and not Honor 200 Pro, because this is one of the most popular mid-range phones today. While Vivo X200 Pro is also one of the most popular flagship of 2025. So again, the popularity and hype leads to this comparison video. So in terms of video resolution, we have a 50 megapixel sensor on Honor 200 and 32 megapixel on Vivo X200 Pro. In terms of video quality, both are really good, very detailed. Just a difference in colors, warmer or greenish on Vivo X200 Pro and lighter and natural looking on Honor 200. Alright, we have the ultra-wide lens, again in 4K 30 FPS. If you notice, the field of view, we have 0.6 on Vivo X200 Pro, a little bit wider than the 0.7 of Honor 200. In terms of specs, we have 12 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200, or rather Honor 200, and we have 50 megapixel on Vivo X200 Pro. So just the sheer performance and resolution, I would think that Vivo X200 Pro has more resolution and more detailed than Honor 200, but let me know in the comment section if that's the case. Now let's check the main sensor. Now we have the main sensor. This is both 50 megapixel sensor, f2.0 on Honor 200 and f1.6 on Vivo X200 Pro. So the lens on the Flagship is a little bit wider than the competition. In terms of video quality, I think this is the best sensors on both phones in terms of video quality or video recording, because you have a really good sensors on both phones. This is in 4K 30 FPS. We can shoot 8K on Vivo X200 Pro. We will test that later outdoors. Now let's check the zoom. And lastly, we have the telephoto zoom on both phones. So we have 3x. It's actually 2.5x optical zoom on Honor 200, cropped to 3x. It is a 50 megapixel sensor, while Vivo X200 Pro has a whopping 200 megapixel 3.7x. In the middle of 3x and 4x, that's the field of view on Vivo X200 Pro. I think that's it for the video quality test. Now let's check the image quality test. On our image quality test, we set both phones to natural. So natural filter on Honor 200 and Zeiss natural on Vivo X200 Pro. So pretty much what we see on real life, that's what we would see on these images. I like the Zeiss natural. You have punchy colors. Again, they're eliminating white and blending it with whatever stronger colors on the images, while Honor 200 is closer in real life if you look on the subject and the scenery. I think this will boil down to personal preference. Honor 200 is cooler and Vivo X200 Pro is warmer. You got a closer focus on Honor 200 actually has a shallower depth of field on close-up compared to the competition. But on some shots, it feels like a little bit cartoonish on Honor 200. I think they're just a little bit over-sharpened. While we have a natural-looking contrast on Vivo X200 Pro, obviously the mid-range Honor will have a better dynamic range, but the colors and details are better on Vivo X200 Pro. Again, more of a personal choice. In terms of focal length, we have ultra-wide main sensor optical zoom. The difference is we have 3x on Honor 200 versus 3.7x on Vivo. And we have 100 times zoom on Vivo X200 Pro. We got ported videos on both phones. So for Honor 200, we only have the rear cameras that can shoot ported video. While we have both the rear cameras and selfie on Vivo X200 Pro, though we can only shoot 1080p on the selfie camera for the X200 Pro. Now let's check the video stabilization. We're starting with the video quality test, stabilization, and also video quality outdoors. On the selfie camera, 4K 30 FPS on both phones. We have 0.8 and 1x on Honor 200, so you can switch between these two focal lengths. Only one sensor, but they can crop in as well. So look at the sky and the flaring. How about the colors of the houses and the trees? Now let's check the video stabilization. Now let's check the zoom and the rear cameras. Now this is the rear camera starting with the ultra-wide lens. A little bit odd comparison to begin with, a mid-range and a flagship. But I wanted to test the hype on these two phones. Which phone is better in terms of the overall performance versus the price. So on the ultra-wide lens, you have 0.6 on Vivo X200 Pro. Also, you would see the contrast is stronger, while you have 0.7 on Honor 200. You got better exposure and dynamic range as well. But the colors are really good on the Flagship X200, looking at the sky. Natural looking on Honor 200. We're checking the video stabilization. Now we're switching to the main sensor. Both 50 megapixel sensors on Honor 200 and Vivo X200 Pro. Again, looking at the sky, the exposure on the house. Really good on both phones. Now let's check the video stabilization. Let's check the details really quick. Both phones are really detailed. Now in terms of zoom, we have 3.7x on X200 Pro and we have 3x on Honor 200. The difference here is the sensor. So we have 2.5x optical zoom on Honor 200, but on video, it's cropping into 3x. Let's check the video stabilization again. Still, the colors are really good on both phones, but I especially like the colors on Vivo X200 Pro. Quite strong. So in terms of zoom, we have 20x on video for Vivo X200 Pro, and we only have 10x on Honor 200. Twice the reach on the flagship Vivo. Again, switching to the main sensor, ultra wide. Which phone do you think is better? On night shot, all throughout this comparison, if you're watching this on a bigger screen, you will see that it's softer on Honor 200, but you have great details and sharpness on Vivo X200 Pro. There's also a difference in white balance. You got a natural looking tone on Honor 200 and warmer on Vivo X200 Pro, and a little bit greenish. On darker situation or pitch black condition, this will be the biggest separation of flagship and mid-range. You still have good details on Vivo X200 Pro. You got better contrast and sharpness compared to the darker and softer Honor 200. Here, I will show you every focal length on night shots.
Can you feel my love? Oh, 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 oh. Can you feel my love?
This is the low-light video test of Vivo X200 Pro and Honor 200. This is a battle of the mid-range versus the flagship. So we have a 32 megapixel sensor f2.0 with 20mm field of view on the selfie video recording of Vivo X200 Pro, while we have 50 megapixel f2.1 with HDR 4K 30 FPS on Honor 200. We have 4K 60 FPS on Vivo X200 Pro. I think that's it for the selfie video recording. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now this is the rear camera test on Vivo X200 Pro and Honor 200. So we have a 50 megapixel sensor f2.0 with 15mm field of view on Vivo X200 Pro, and we have a 12 megapixel f2.2 with 112 degrees field of view on Honor 200. I think in terms of video quality, Vivo X200 Pro is better, a little bit greenish, but Honor 200 is a little bit dark and soft in terms of the ultra-wide low-light video recording. Now let's check the main sensor. Now this is the 4K 30 FPS video recording on Vivo X200 Pro and Honor 200. This is 50 megapixel sensor on each. We have f1.6, a little bit wider lens on Vivo X200 Pro, and we have f2.0 on Honor 200. I think in terms of low-light video recording, this is the best sensors on both phones. I think on Honor 200, they're smoothing the video a little bit, while you have more details on Vivo X200 Pro. Now let's check the zoom. And lastly, we have the zoom. We have 3.7x on Vivo X200 Pro. This is a 200 megapixel sensor, while we have a 50 megapixel 2.5x optical zoom on Honor 200. We are actually cropping in on 3x, but it's using the telephoto zoom on the mid-range Honor 200. I think that's it for our low-light video test. Now let's check the resolution. In terms of resolution, video resolution, we have 4K on the mid-range Honor 200. This is in 30 FPS. And we have a proper 8K video recording on Vivo X200 Pro, 8K 30 FPS. I think that's it for our comparison video between these two phones. The hype is real. These two phones are really good smartphones in terms of camera performance. But which phone do you think is better in terms of camera performance and price? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.